Ahead on Daytime Buffalo, we sit down with Horizon Health Services to discuss the importance of mental health awareness in our schools. And you know them, you love them, and now you can vote for them. Buffalo Spree is here to talk about how you can vote for your favorite businesses and make them the best of Western New York. It's all coming up right here on Daytime Buffalo. Good afternoon, hello, and welcome to Daytime Buffalo. I'm your host, Chelsea Lavelle. We would like to welcome Brandy Vandermark Murray, Senior Vice President of Operations at Horizon Health Services, to Daytime Buffalo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, right off the bat, just tell us a little bit more about Horizon Health Services and what you guys do.
Sure. Horizon Health Services is one of the largest behavioral health care organizations in Western New York. We specialize in services for both mental health and substance use for people all across the lifespan, children all the way to as old as you could possibly be.
Now, tell me a little bit about your services and what you're doing with local schools in Western New York.
Absolutely. So we do children's services in our clinics, but over the past few years, we have really seen an expansion in the need for being in the community. And so we're in about a dozen or more schools where we have services right in the school, so children and their families can seek services during the school hours, and we can really increase access for those high-risk kids or those kids who are struggling with transitions.
And that brings a good point. Can you discuss further the need and why it's important to have these within our schools?
Absolutely. We know that our children have struggled over the past few years, more so than ever with COVID. We are seeing an increase in anxiety, an increase in depression, an increase in just transitioning back to schools. And so if we can really challenge the stigma and normalize the importance of seeking services right where children are there and family are there in the community, we know we can prevent perhaps some high-risk situations and really improve wellness for those children.
And this is so timely, right? After the tragedy that just happened in Nashville, we're approaching, the anniversary of the May 14th massacre. It's a time where kind of anxiety in Western New York is sort of rising when it comes to this. So it's amazing that you guys have these services. Now, you are not just at your counseling locations, correct?
Correct. We have really pushed into communities where we can meet people where they're at. So not only are we in schools, we work with some medical offices, we work in outreach programs, we go to employers, we really talk about mental wellness and the services that we provide. We have a lot of people reaching out to us and saying, I need help. My staff, my children, my community, they're not well. And we really want to make sure we work together with community partners so that way we can all really heal together.
Brandy, can you elaborate more on how these collaborations came about?
Absolutely. We've always been a community partner. Horizon has been around for many years in Western New York. And so we've always outreached to our communities. But really, in the past few years, I think we're looking at we have limited resources and we have lots of need. And so it's really important for us to work together, to collaborate, to identify how we can use each other, not just with Horizon, but with school counselors and school officials and even some of the employees in schools. We really have to take care of the people that are taking care of our children. And so people are more vocal about saying, I need help, how can we help? And that's really what we're doing.
Can you talk about the treatment services that you guys provide within the school-based programs?
Absolutely. It's really essentially a smaller kind of clinic model, right? You're just doing it right in the school. And so we specialize in individual services, family services. In some schools, we're even doing some group skill work with those individuals. We do a lot of trauma work, and so we're doing play therapy with some of the younger kids to help them build skills if they've experienced trauma, grief and loss, and really just some transitional kind of skills with helping them socialize with others. We have a lot of kids who, have never really worked with their peers because they've been homeschooled for a few years.
Yeah.
They have anxiety around the traumatic events that have identified that have happened. And so really helping them do those things. The other thing we do is we do a lot of education. It's not just clinical skills, is providing education and resources for those people who may want to access services in the future. And so we do a lot of education for staff, family members, and community members.
That is awesome because there's a lot of people that, kids don't necessarily know I need to go to Horizon Health, but there's people in their life that should know the steps to take to help someone that comes to them, especially when it comes to a kid. Now, what kinds of emotional and behavioral problems do Horizon School-based counselors treat?
We treat all types of mood disorders. The most common ones I think that we're seeing specifically with our young adult and children are anxiety, depression, and really come of that social transition piece. We have people who sometimes don't even able to identify their symptoms, and so just really helping them identify their feelings and manage their emotions can be the first step. But a lot of it is the mood disorders that we see in children and young adults.
And how is Horizons also assisting the staff and faculty in these schools? We kind of touched on it, but do you want to
Absolutely. And so a lot of providers, are coming in and helping them educate on signs and symptoms. And so, like I said, many children don't know how to identify their feelings. And so if you are an employer or a staff member working in schools, being able to identify early signs and symptoms of a mental health disorder can be really important for us to do early intervention. The other thing we're doing is we're offering resources for those staff members, like I said. We have a lot of people who are managing their own life stressors, who are trying to do their best at their jobs, and so providing those services for staff to manage some of those things is important as well. We do a lot of mental health first aid training, and so we do things with employers on how they can intervene with skills and how they can kind of take care of each other. A lot of it is increasing awareness and challenging stigma.
Brandy, thank you so much for coming in and talking more about Horizon Health. Horizon Health Services have multiple locations across Western New York. You can find out more about them and the services they offer by going over to their website. That's horizon-health.org. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
A celebration held in honor of a veteran and one that will keep them safe. It's all thanks to Gary Sinise Foundation, who built them a home where this wounded warrior can move about with ease.
The ceremony began with the national anthem, and then a selection read by a priest. Then a group of contractors, friends, family, and community members wrote words of encouragement to U.S. Army Sergeant Shane Parsons and his wife and 2 kids, Owen and Emmett, on the home's wooden beams. Messages, he says, will remind him of his brothers and sisters at war.
Sometimes you feel like I'm worthy, feel like I'm deserving of this. It's still surreal.
Sergeant Parsons lost both legs in Iraq when he drove over an IED. He had to undergo months of recovery due to a traumatic brain injury and cardiac arrest. His wife says they got the call from Gary Sinise himself about a year ago.
It was an emotional moment, and that's when everything started falling into place for us. I was about 3 months pregnant with our son, so having that final plan set in stone where we would be in a year or 2 is what really brought everything home and what was able to get our feet in the soil and really root us down.
As far as the home's adaptations, the hallways will be 5 feet wide. The garage doesn't have steps. There'll be lower closet shelves and pull-down cabinetry and a shower platform instead of a shower chair and a tub, all making it easier for Shane to get around.
Everything's amazing. Yeah, love it all.
Coming up after the break, we talk to Buffalo Spray about how you can make your voice heard and support your favorite businesses. And these girls shine bright like diamonds. Virtuous Diamonds is here to talk to us about an exciting event happening this weekend. Stick around.